Hey guys, my name is Christy and this is my Crafty Country. So today's video is actually a compilation video that I'm doing with some other crafters here on YouTube, and it is called Recreation Inspiration. It's where you find ideas from another crafter, maybe some DIYs that they've done, and you redo them and support them and link their channels in your description. And so that is what I'm doing today, and I will link, I'll tell you about them as I go because it was a couple different crafters that I was recreating from. So I will let you know who they were and what their channels' names are as we go through the video, and I will link everything down below. And also I am doing a challenge on when I get to my 2,000 subscribers. So I'm going to link a video down below that was the mystery box. Go check that one out because at the end of that video I tell you how to get qualified into the drawing for when I get to my 2,000 subscribers. So help a girl out and check out the videos in the playlist and get you some other inspiration, some other crafters that you want to follow. When I entered this, I found so many different crafters that I didn't even know were out there because, like me, their channels aren't that big, so it doesn't come to the top of your search. So that is another reason why if you like the video, you give us a thumbs up to help get those videos to the top of the searches and help the algorithm. So with that being said, I'm going to jump on into it and let's get recreating. This collaboration is hosted by Connie's Creative Creations, and the co-host of this month is Amanda over at 6 Kids and a Glue Gun. So I'll link both of their channels below, so make sure you go over and check them out and give them a thumbs up on their videos because I'm sure they'll have one in the playlist. So my first DIY was actually from Amanda on 6 Kids and a Glue Gun, and I didn't even know it. I didn't know she was going to be the co-host. So I did this pumpkin wreath that she recently did, and I just absolutely loved it. So I ended up doing 2 of her DIYs. But the first thing you need is some of the Dollar Tree's Chanel yarn, or you could use any yarn, but with the Chanel yarn it takes less due to it being a little fluffier. And all you do is just wrap it around 2 different sections, and you're going to want to hot glue in between. I tied a knot up in the top, and then I started wrapping, and I'd wrap a few wraps and then I'd put a dot of hot glue just to keep it from shimmying up and down the bars because it'll try to walk away on you. Once you get to the bottom, just glue it down, and then I ended up just gluing it to itself on the back rather than having to tie it. And then I moved on to the next section. So I end up doing 4 sections, and I just repeat the same steps the whole way down. Once I have all of those sections wrapped, I'm going to cover the remaining openings with this Dollar Tree fabric, and they have different fall fabrics out this year, and I think this is one of the new ones, and I absolutely loved it. And this is actually the same one Amanda used over on 6 Kids and a Glue Gun. The difference is I think she used orange yarn, but all you do is cut it into strips that are manageable and just cover these sections from the back 1 strand at a time, and just hot glue the fabric to the yarn. And I started by gluing it down in the center first and then working up towards the top and the bottom, because that way I was able to pull it tight where I needed to. And I hope you can kind of understand what I'm saying just by watching. But once I got to the ends, I did put hot glue across that bottom bar to connect that piece of fabric to the bar, so there were no gaps, no sagging places. It just kind of holds that fabric tighter. So there's where I'm putting the glue up to the bar. Then after all the fabric is tacked down, I will snip off the edges, and the back doesn't have to be pretty because you're not going to see it. I just kind of clipped away the fabric that would have been showing around the sides or just off the edges. when you're clipping the fabric away, just be super careful not to clip your yarn, because if you do that, then you would have to take it all apart and rewrap that whole section, and that is just not something I was trying to do. So just be super careful when snipping away your fabric, or if you have a better way of cutting it to where it's an exact fit, that more power to you, but this is just how I did it, and it worked out pretty well for me. Next, I wrapped the stem of the pumpkin with some jute twine, and I used some of the thicker twine. There is one little catch. You do want to kind of tack glue as you wrap, and you don't have to do every single lap around, but you want to do it at least a couple times, that way, just like the yarn, that way it doesn't try to move and like slide off of the bars. Once I had it completely wrapped, I just pushed the twine down on the back side and then hot glued it down. Instead of having to worry about it being exact, it stays back there, and like the fabric, no one's going to see that part. So now I've got these two leaf ornaments, the wooden ornaments from Dollar Tree, and I just get some of the elephant paint from Waverly and wipe it onto the leaf and then scrub it off with a baby wipe, just so it gets that gray stained look. And I string those onto some twine, and I'm going to make those hangers from the stem of the pumpkin. They'll hang out from behind my bow. So I did string both of them on at one time, that way I didn't have to use the hot glue trick on the end of both of them. I was just able to get them both on and then tie the knots on the end, and then they were on their little cord, I guess. Now for my messy bow, I have two different types of ribbon and strips of my fabric. Now this ribbon I think I got at Dollar General last year, I'm not sure, but Dollar Tree did have some of the truck with pumpkins ribbon. I was just never able to find it, and I absolutely love this. At first I made them too long, so I snipped the excess off, and then I just overlap one, just alternating and going in different directions, and then tie it in the back with a pipe cleaner and snip off the excess, because I'm not going to tie it on, I'm just going to glue it into place. So after I get the leaves tied into place, because I can just tuck those in and tie them around the bar, I will hot glue the bow onto the top. For my next DIY, I'm going to be working from Amanda over at 6 Kids and a Glue Gun, from her inspiration again, and I'm going to be making this faux pumpkin pie, which I thought was super cute. She did pumpkin pie and cherry pie, but I'm just going to do the pumpkin pie. So you need a pie pan. You can use foil or the metal ones over in the kitchen section, and one of these car washing sponges from over by the auto care aisle. And then I just sliced mine down the middle because I didn't need it to be that fat, and then cut off the wavy edges off of one side so the two sides would fit flush up against each other. Then I just traced out the shape I needed and cut them to size. Since I will be using orange yarn to cover these, I am going to spray paint the sponge orange, and it really didn't have to match. Obviously it doesn't, but if any of it shows through, it won't be as noticeable as that bright yellow. So once they've been painted, I hot glue them to the bottom of the pan, and then I start covering the entire sponge with yarn. And I just tack it down on the ends and run it back and forth, and each time I get to one side, I just put a dot of hot glue, and then I backtrack to the other end, and I just keep zigzagging all the way, just putting them right up against each other. Now that I have all the yarn on, I want to make a ring around this that makes it look like pie crust. So I used some of this lace ribbon from Dollar Tree and just hot glued it down all around the top edge. And once I got that first round done, I realized that it was kind of too thin. So I just did a second round and like layered it, kind of shingled it, staggered it back a little bit, and that made it look amazing. Now, it wouldn't be pumpkin pie without the whipped topping. So obviously I'm not going to put real whipped topping on there. So I got some of the Dollar Tree spackle and I watered it down a little bit until it was the right consistency. Warning, don't put too much water in or it's going to be runny and it'll just be like a puddle in the middle of your pie. So make it kind of a pasty consistency and you will be right on track. After you get the spackle all mixed up and watered down just a little bit, all you need to do is put it in a baggie and cut off the corner and just put it on there like icing, and that is your makeshift piping bag. And this DIY is done. And thank you, Amanda at 6 Kids and a Glue Gun, for your inspiration on both of those DIYs. I love them and they are so going in with my fall decor. For my third and final DIY, my inspiration is coming from Olivia's Romantic Home, and I am making this centerpiece for fall, and I'm also going to have this in a video for sunflower compilation video, but I just loved it and I loved the way she got hers together. So I got 3 of those wooden crates and used gel super glue to glue them together end to end, and then I used some of these fall wooden signs and I put 1 on each side, and I did use a combination of gel super glue and hot glue, or maybe I didn't, maybe I just used hot glue on that part. I think I did. So then I was able to trace circles around the bottom of the pots on these sunflowers. That way I would know where to put my floral foam. So all I did was I cut these cubes of floral foam and put them on each side. That way, once I got the sunflowers glued down, I would be able to stick in the stems of my choice. And Olivia, she used lamb's ear and some, I think, moss maybe. But I decided that I wanted to use fall leaves just to make it bright. She wanted to make hers kind of a transition into fall, and I'm just going all out fall. So then I glue down my sunflowers, and I need 3 of the Dollar Tree's leaf stems. So all I did was I snipped these off, and originally I did not snip them off short enough, but I would rather do it that way than snip them off too short. So I snipped them off, and then I will stick these down into the floral foam and fill up all the spaces. To fill in any remaining gaps, I used 2 packs of these little sweater pumpkins, and they have clips on the back, so I can take these off if I want to. I just clip them in on the stems of the leaves, and I just put 6 of them in there, and this DIY was almost complete. I did want to put some feet on it after I got done. I realized that it just wasn't standing well for me, so I used some of the little wooden apples from Dollar Tree and glued them to the 4 corners on the bottom to make feet. I hope you guys really liked all 3 of these DIYs. Don't forget to go over and check out all of the girls that are in this compilation video. They will be linked below, along with the inspirations for these DIYs. Thanks for watching.